we don't talk about this stuff that much, but this one's a little interesting. An unreleased N64 prototype sold for close to $3,000 on eBay. It's a third-person sort of space shooter. The footage is online. It's called Viewpoint 2064.
Sequel to a Genesis game. Just called Viewpoint.
Viewpoint was by SNK, the original. The original was an isometric shooter. Viewpoint 2064 this is from the article, was to have multiple points of view and quality 3D graphics at the time. You can look at the video. Well, it's like a decent game. So I guess this was American Sammy was going to put this out, or Sammy, if you want to shorten it. And then
I just love the name American Sammy.
They showed the prototype at Nintendo Space World in 1999. I have no idea what that is.
Space World used to be Nintendo's own like Tokyo Game Show.
Oh, okay, they used to have their own.
Yeah,
they have no idea. So what I want to talk about is, first of all, anytime a game's unreleased, it'll go for more money. I'm surprised it went for $3,000.
Me too.
Because even unreleased NES prototypes don't go for near this amount. Unless it's a sort of weird one that, well, that's the whole conversation that people think they can make money off by making repos. They still don't go for $3,000. They may go for $1,000, $1,200, at least what I've seen in the past. So $3,000 is a good chunk of change for this. Or maybe there isn't a lot of prototypes in N64 that are still out there to be found. Maybe that's why. Because the game looks pretty fun, but it looks to me as just sort of like, okay, it's fine, whatever. So my question is that why hasn't this ROM been dumped, and will it hopefully be dumped by whoever bought this?
I think the broader question is, I mean, should ROMs be dumped, or as opposed to being held for ransom? And by the way, I phrased that just now. I think I gave my answer. I'm of a preservation point of view. I feel like, especially these one-of-a-kind games, if we want a complete digital history of gaming, or as complete as we can get it, we need to dump these and we need to release them to the public. Now, I'm aware that people spend a lot of money on prototypes. However, that's your choice. I mean, it's your choice to own it, and if you're the person who's willing to pay the money to get it, I wonder, is there a responsibility on your part to do it? Now, technically, no. But
well, okay. They bought it, but they bought the cartridge holding it. They did not buy the intellectual property held within. And that's where I think people forget about when they buy these prototypes. And we never really had this broader conversation about they don't own that game.
Sure.
We don't own these games. We own the cartridges holding a board the game's on.
You own a physical manifestation
I own the license of each of these games.
Sure.
That's what I own. This is, to me, even more specious because he owns the intellectual property of a company that someone now owns. That who owns American Sammy now? I don't know. I ain't looking it up.
Sammy's still around.
Okay. Sammy owns that game. They own that prototype. That's their property. So it doesn't even, to me, come down to should he release it or not. It comes down to, well, he should release it for preservation, but American Sammy or Sammy owns that property. Whether they want to release it or not, it's up to them. The shittiest thing to do, though, is not release it at all. That's the shittiest thing to do, because obviously, not only do you not own that, you don't have any right to even own that at the end of the day, but now, probably because of the way this is flashed, this isn't a cartridge like this that'll last 150 years. There could be bit rot going on here. So I doubt that Sammy has records of this still. You know what I mean? Like, they may not have this in their system anymore. Or maybe some developer over in Japan has it somewhere. Who the hell knows where he is? So this has to get preserved.
Well, and it not getting released is not the shittiest thing of all. It not getting released because the person wants to put a ransom on it is the biggest. I dislike it when people require money to be raised for them to release a ROM. And in this, so have I. And in this instance, based on the things that you said, it's even more. I find it more reprehensible because not only do you not own it, not only is the company still around, not only is it only your property in terms of one use, but if you are going to release it, which is, I mean, I'm okay with that. I mean, to charge money for it just seems ridiculous.
Well, I don't know what I think the video on YouTube is not even the guy who uploaded it. That's not even there. So I think he got that footage elsewhere of the guy who owns it. So, yeah. So I don't know.
It's scary to me that yes, that this has obviously been through multiple hands and hasn't been dumped yet.
So I mean, I've seen this with the NES prototype scene. You have 3 or 4 guys buying up 90% of the prototypes. That makes me sick in and of itself because they're sort of coring this really niche market to begin with. But then seeing guys, I've seen it myself, people try to see prototypes bidding way up just because they know it's an investment. They can make the money back on a repro cartridge of it. So you get into a weird area where, I mean, we haven't seen it yet. We've seen the guy with the Shadowhawk property go after that repro. That was for the intellectual property of just of Shadowhawk himself, of the combo character, not the actual game. We have not yet seen a company go after someone for a prototype, especially trying to sell it. I think that most companies wouldn't care, but if they try to sell it, we haven't seen that yet. I'm not saying someone should be made an example of, but if this continues like this, when a company has every right to do that, to go after that, at least to say forfeit this property. It's not yours.
I feel like a lot of companies would look at their older back catalogs and be like, dump it. If it's dumped, fine. It's no longer of our concern. But yes, I think if a company is still around like Sammy and someone tries to profit off of their unreleased code, then yes, I think there would be a larger issue, or there could be a much larger issue.
Oh yeah, like I'm surprised no one ever went after all those people for the Star Fox 2, Super Nintendo repros. Like I'm surprised that they never got after, because Nintendo could have easily released that in Virtual Console, and just got out. You know what I mean? Like they could have done something with that.
Nintendo is so weird.
Because the game was basically finished. It was finished.
Yeah, they screw with people who do YouTube, and then they don't go after Star Fox 2. They don't go after the fan translation of Mother 3 and the subsequent repros that, got done. And, I mean, I'm okay with those things existing, absolutely. Like, I mean, get those into people's hands, especially, like, the Mother 3 thing. Like, that's... People wanted that, and I'm glad that fan translation even got mentioned in Nintendo Power. But they don't go after that, yet they go after YouTubers who are reviewing their games.
No, it's not so much to go after. They just sort of... They want a little cut. So I'm hoping that whoever owns this does the right thing and dumps it for preservation. I mean, honestly, I'm looking at the game. It looks fun. It looks like almost like a sort of N64 Star Fox-ish sort of game. That's the best way I can describe it, but more, obviously more generic. That's the way it looks to me.
Mm-hmm.